5 years of Mikel Arteta at Arsenal. Feels like it's gone
What a glorious
quickly.
5 years it's been.
Why?
Well, I mean, he's told us it's been pretty glorious, hasn't it?
Trophy filled, apparently.
I know, it's crazy.
1 FA Cup, 2 Community Shields,
Yeah.
glistening in the cabinet.
It was a funny approach from him, Arteta, because I feel like he often handles the media well. I feel like he is quite intelligent. He says the right thing. He knows what will curry favour with fans, and he's quite astute. To kind of go for that, to make that the hill that you're going to die on.
Was he winding people up?
No, I don't think he was. I don't think it was said in jest at all. I think he meant it. I think it was put to him that he hadn't won enough. There wasn't enough silverware in his 5 years. There was only 1 trophy, and he made it apparent that there wasn't 1. There was actually 3. I think it's quite a symbolic moment for him.
What do you make of people saying that he needs to win a trophy this season because it has been, by Arsenal standards, a bit of a barren spell? They have been. They were a cup team. Let's be honest. In the years before he came in, they won plenty of FA Cups, but struggled in the league. He came in. He's taken them from 8th place finishes to title challenges. Hasn't got them over the line in a title race. Does silverware matter so much given where he's taken them as a club?
Oh yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. That's what's quantifiable, isn't it? When people talk about success and failure, I always find it weird when people try and reposition the definition of success and they go, well, the feel-good factor around the club is, but look, those things matter. But ultimately, success and failure is quantified by trophies.
Yeah, but given where he's got them to, if you're looking at the end of the season, in a season where Manchester City have hugely dropped off, they've been the reason why Arsenal haven't been able to win the league in the last couple of seasons, despite being brilliant. Let's be honest. They come up against almost perfection in Manchester City. So in the season when they drop off, you're telling me that if Mikel Arteta wins the League Cup but comes, 3rd or 2nd, behind Liverpool, behind Chelsea, who aren't going to be as flawless as Man City usually are, you're saying that actually that would still be successful for Mikel Arteta as a season?
No, I'm not actually. I think what's happened for Arteta is, if Manchester City had won the league this season and they'd done it by accruing another 98 points, and Arteta's team hadn't won the league, they'd only managed to get 92. I say only 92, but they end the season trophyless. They lose a semi-final in the Champions League to Real Madrid. They lose the Premier League title, finishing 2nd to Manchester City. I don't think that's bad for Mikel Arteta at all. In fact, I would say that sort of season, 2nd in the league and out in the semi-finals of the Champions League, would paint his contribution to Arsenal in a very positive colour, and most people would be very sympathetic to the job that he was doing. However, what is making it look very tricky for Arteta at the moment, and the reason why the knives feel like they're out a bit, isn't really anything to do with Arteta. It isn't really anything to do with what's going on at Arsenal. It's the contribution that Arne Slot has had at Liverpool that makes Mikel Arteta look fairly average, and it's the contribution that Enzo Maresca has had at Chelsea that, again, makes Mikel Arteta look fairly average.
Is that because of the immediacy in which they've managed to get their teams, pretty much battling each other at the moment? When you look at the table, Liverpool on 36, they've got a game in hand, Chelsea 34, Arsenal 30, so they're 6 points off.
And the performances this season. So you think about let's use, so that I'm not accused of any bias here, let's use Liverpool as a case study. You look at what Arne Slot has done since he's gone in there. You look at individual moments, you look at certain games, say, for example, when they went down to 10 men and they had to basically play with 10 men for 90 minutes against Fulham. Because the game went to about 100, it was pretty much 90 minutes. Mm-hmm. You heard Anthony Robinson speaking after the game. He said that it felt like they were down to 10 men. They couldn't find that pocket of space. Arne Slot used his brilliance to find a way to keep Liverpool on the front foot and ultimately succeed. They got themselves a point when they were losing the game.
Could have won it as well.
Think about what happened when Arsenal went down to 10 men. Every time they went down to 10 men, they felt like they capitulated. It's so different.
And coupled with that, on a weekend where Liverpool dropped points, and obviously Man City's struggles continue, that they draw at home to Everton.
Yes,
they're not taking advantage of the situation,
which is so poor. And if you think about what you're witnessing at the moment at Arsenal, it's been in the making for 5 years. This is 5 years culmination. This is a 5-year culmination. 5 years in the making was that performance against Everton.
When does it become too long without success? And whether that's a trophy or continuing to be proper contenders for this league title, how long before you look at Arteta and go, maybe is there a ceiling here? He's taken Arsenal as far as he can.
No, I think...
Is that overreactive?
I feel like that is so far away from what is the truth here. I really do. As much as I think we can criticise Mikel Arteta, and as much as I think we can say Arteta is getting certain things wrong, I think it's ludicrous to have any conversation about him losing his job. Like, I really do. I just don't think it makes any sense. And I know that there's some fairly prominent Arsenal fans, particularly online, that are making that case. But I just don't see it. And anyone I know who goes to Arsenal, and, I'm from North London, I've got a lot of Arsenal mates. They're totally unilaterally supportive of what's going on at Arsenal, and Mikel Arteta is the answer to their problems. I think where it's gone wrong for Arteta, and he is partially responsible for this, but their recruitment has been all over the place.
I think the recruitment at the top of the pitch has not been good. He's managed to solidify them, and they're brilliant defensively. But I think
they're too solid.
I think they're a bit too cautious as well.
Yeah,
they're a bit too cautious in the way they play. That, when you look at the way they play against Everton, you're screaming out for some of those fullbacks to overlap and help those wingers out. It seemed in so many games, and actually you can see it. When you look at how often they attack down the right hand side, they're reliant on Bukayo Saka.
They're reliant on their one or two genuinely world class players. They've probably got three, but one of them isn't going to win them the game. So they've got two world class players that are capable of winning the game, but then they've got a couple of other players that are totally ineffective. It's interesting you say that though about the game against Everton, because I think it's very important. I heard Thierry Henry talking about this. Thierry Henry was speaking to Jamie Carragher. It was brilliant. It was like so insightful. And Thierry Henry made the point about winning the league, that you can't not lose a league. If you want to win the league, you go and win the league. You go out and you win the league. You go and you claim the title. You make it your own. You can't passively win a league. And in the past, I am perhaps wrong, but I would have said that, when Arsenal went away to Manchester City towards the end of last season and they got the point, but they defended resolutely. They didn't go for the jugular. They tried to get a point and they got the point. And that's
they had that chance, didn't they?
They had that chance, but they didn't really want to win the game. They were happy with the point that they got, and you could see the way that Arsenal fans celebrated after the game in the away end and online. They were happy with the point. What Henry said made me kind of change that, because at the time I said that was a good point. But Henry basically said, you go and you win a title, which means you go out and you try and beat everyone. I'm not sure that Arsenal are actually going out to win the league. I think they're perhaps going out to not lose a league, and they may end up winning silverware in that manner. But perhaps they need to be a bit braver, and perhaps they need to be a little bit braver in the transfer market, because some of the players that they have signed...
Which would be what?
Well, look, if we're going to be frank here, and I do truly believe this, I don't think you win anything with Kai Havertz as your goal scorer. I just don't think you win anything. And that was such a mistake from Arteta. Hey, look, all good managers make mistakes in the transfer market.
He's not been atrocious.
No,
Havertz.
He has.
No,
he's
not.
No,
not.
This is reframing
That's
of the truth.
Fair.
It is. He has been atrocious for what he is supposed.
He's not.
Kai Havertz is a distinctly limited footballer. He's a totally average footballer who, yes, of course, he can have a moment. He's on the scale of being a poor player, in my opinion. Of course, he's excellent, but he can have a moment here and there, but he does not have anything like the consistency and the brilliance that it takes to win you a league title. And I promise you this, Mikel Arteta needs to be totally honest with himself. It was a punt. It was an expensive punt. He believed that it could work. He thought he was going to almost reimagine Kai Havertz and make him a midfielder. That didn't work. They put him up as a false nine. They pretended that the false nine worked with Kai Havertz because Bukayo Saka was so good. And that season, Martinelli was so good. So they had goals galore in the team. But now Martinelli's gone off the boil. Kai Havertz doesn't contribute. They're so reliant on Saka. Until they address the Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus scored a hat-trick. I don't know what the answer is. But
well maybe it's going out to get someone in January in that.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.